Hello and welcome to today's video. Today I want to recover and update my Path of the Burning Steps build. Here in Solar 3.0 a lot has changed, but one thing that hasn't changed is the strength of Path of the Burning Steps. This exotic on Titan is incredibly overlooked and incredibly underrated. I think people don't quite understand the way this exotic works, the strength of this exotic, and why I like running it here on Solar Titan. Now that we have a direct solar energy weapon perk, Incandescent, the way the damage stacks and the way you can add clear with the extra scorch stacks is amazing. Can't wait for y'all to see this build. Now let's hop into it. Alright, let's go ahead and hop into the build. Alright, so first up we're going to cover our subclass. Our subclass is Sunbreaker. Sunbreaker is the perfect class to pair here with Path of the Burning Steps, because it allows you to use your abilities to also proc Firewalker, the exotic perk here on Path of the Burning Steps. So for our abilities, unless I'm using Laurel Splendor or on Overshield Barricade, I run Towering Barricade. The reason for this is it provides me real protection, and lets me actually step back and reload and regenerate health and stuff. However, I find myself not really relying on my barricade too often unless I need to get a res or something in a fire team activity. For my jump, I prefer catapult. If you prefer strafe, go for it. If you prefer high, delete your Titan. I am running throwing hammer melee, though you can run whichever melee you want. This is mostly just to help with keeping roaring flames up, to help make sure my abilities do crazy damage when I have my abilities, and then also it's just a way for me to keep up Firewalker in an easy manner through the throwing hammer. And then I'm running the fusion grenade because in my opinion it's the best grenade here. It's on the shortest cooldown for the most damage. So that's why I run incendiary grenades. Fusion grenades. For our aspects, we're running Soul Invictus. This is Sunspots. This is going to allow us to get restoration, and this is going to allow us to keep basically at full health the entire time we're running around and deleting all of our enemies with all of our extra damage. And then also, I'm running Roaring Flames. This is just to help your abilities, so that way when you have your abilities up, they are basically nukes. For our fragments, we're running Ember of Char. Anytime you have a solar ignition, which is going to happen a lot if you put the build together all the way, it's going to spread Scorch to your targets. This is also going to grant you a +10 to your discipline. We're running Ember of Searing. This is going to allow you, if you lose your melee, to basically just get your melee right back. I'm also using this mostly for the recovery bonus, but if you want to use something else here, you can, though you don't really need to. And the getting your melee back in case you lose your hammer is great. And it also would allow you to run Hammer Strike and get Hammer Strike back pretty quickly, which would be pretty nice. And also you could use Solar Ignitions here and have them spread Scorch, which would be pretty nice. I'm running the Ember of Empyrean. This is the key part to the build. Ember of Empyrean is going to allow you to keep restoration up at all times, even if you're not spawning a sunspot. And since you can't spawn a sunspot anymore off of solar weapon kills, this is a key part to keeping the health regeneration bonus from sunspots up at all times. And then lastly, Ember of Ashes. This is what I like to call the Whisper of Chains, or the Echo of Persistence. Here on Solar, this is like the solar fragment that you have to have on at all times because Scorch is so important, because Scorch causes ignitions, and ignition is more than just a solar explosion, it's a huge damage increase as well. Alright, on to the armor. For our armor, our helmet is on arc, though doesn't necessarily have to be, because I'm running all neutral mods. I'm just running my normal helmet that I use for most builds, so it happens to be on arc. I'm running a harmonic siphon. This is going to allow me to create orbs of power whenever we use a solar weapon, and we are going to definitely be using a solar primary with this build, and then a copy of Font of Might. This is going to allow you to have even more damage, and all this damage is going to stack together to where your primary weapon is going to feel like a mini nuke when you're using it. It's going to allow you just to, like, with something like Drang, you're like one tapping red bars, which feels great. For our gloves, this is not quite right. We are running a elemental ordnance, and then if you're on a non-champion activity, I would run a melee or grenade kickstart, whichever one you prefer. Obviously, if you're running melee, if you're running mini hammer, you should probably be running a grenade kickstart because you're going to have your hammer up at all times. However, once a B sidearm is back, or if you're running Callus mini tool, you can run overload there with overload rounds. You have plenty of space here to run 2 stuns. So once AB sidearm is back, you can run AB sidearm and then overload trace rifles and use Aegis Scepter as your overload stun here. So plenty of space even with the elemental ordnance to run your champion mods as needed. On to the chest piece. Chest piece this season, just like every other chest piece you've seen so far, is here on Arc. This is just going to allow us to have all 3 resists, and as long as you're running 100 resilience and all 3 resists, you're pretty unkillable in most activities. Running an elemental armaments, this is going to give us more solar wells when our primary weapon gets a kill. Technically it's a double kill, but that works perfectly with our exotic, which is going to be Path of the Burning Steps. Our Path of the Burning Steps here are on solar. I'm running Inveneration and a recuperation. This is because my boots aren't masterworked. If your boots are masterworked and you have the space, I would highly recommend scavs. Scavs are pretty nice. And obviously you wouldn't be able to run the really big scavs, the ones that cost 5s, but you could run a fusion scav, a shotgun scav, a sword scav, a linear fusion rifle scav, some of the more normal scavs, you could run even a sword scav, right? So plenty of space here to run your scavs. And then also I'm running Bountiful Wells here on Path of the Burning Steps. For those of you who don't know what Path of the Burning Steps are, they are an exotic boot here on Titan, and they have the exotic perk called Firewalker. Solar final blows periodically grant you an escalating bonus to weapon damage. What this actually means is every single double kill you get is going to give you Firewalker, is going to give you a stack of Firewalker. When you get the stack of Firewalker, you are going to have a increased damage, to weapon damage. Every single time you do this, it goes up to a 40% damage increase. And this weapon damage is for all weapons, not just solar weapons. And this is the confusing part, because the solar final blows periodically grant an escalating bonus to weapon damage. It's all weapons, not just solar weapons. So any weapons in your kit will get the up to 40% extra damage that Firewalker will grant them. Lastly, on to the class item. Our class item today is on solar. One thing you will notice is I do not have classy restoration on. This is because I don't feel like you need it with this build if you are running Well of Life. This also lets you play this build long term and get used to not playing with classy restoration. As many of you know, classy restoration isn't going to be here forever because it's an artifact mod, right? And also having it be 6 cost really hurts with your stat distribution. So I would prefer to run double bomber to really make sure if I need my grenade back, I can just pop my barricade and I'll get my grenade back pretty quickly. And then also I'm running Well of Life to, on top of the healing I'm already getting from restoration, this healing as well, and they all stack together and you feel pretty unkillable if you're running 100 resilience, Well of Life, and you have restoration on. One key part to this build that I feel is incredibly important is a incandescent weapon. We don't have a lot of them right now. Right now, Drang is the only one that I have that I feel like using. I wish this was a Callus mini tool though. If you have a Callus mini tool, I highly recommend using it. It is one of the best ad clear primaries in the game because incandescent is one of Destiny's best ad clear tools in the game. It is a lot, in my opinion, it's a lot like volatile rounds, but it doesn't have a proc condition beforehand. It's not as strong as volatile rounds necessarily are, but in my opinion, it's better because it's up at all times and it's literally just get a kill. This makes Dragonfly look awful, if I'm being honest, this perk right here. But that is going to be it for the build today. The gameplay you saw at the beginning of the video and you're going to see here at the end of the video is from me being solo in the seasonal activity. And I just wanted to show off in there exactly how strong this build really is and how fast you can actually really kill things, because I know it gets a little ridiculous watching me run through Navoda every single day, because it happens to be the most ad dense activity that isn't a seasonal activity. All right, that's going to be it for the build. All right, everyone, that's going to be it for the video today. I do hope everyone has enjoyed this video and enjoys this build. I know this was one of the builds that I made a long time ago and that I've covered twice now. It's a little different this time around due to the way that Solar 3.0 has changed this build, but overall it's the same idea. You really just want to boost the crap out of your weapons and then just have them do insane damage and clear everything with your weapons while your abilities become supplemental to your build as a whole. But with that being said, I hope everyone enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like here on this video and subscribing to the channel. Goal is to be at 400 subscribers by the end of the season. We are about 90 off, so let's keep pushing and let's keep going. Thank you, everyone. See you in the next one, and goodbye.